he would consider ending it all. But it was just a shift in mindset that changed it. And it was because the work, the contribution was worth it. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, just when you thought you're like, okay, cool, that I've heard this guy's story. I mean, it's been a life of adversity for me. And in 2010 or 2009, I remarried, and I remarried like my high school sweetheart. Even though I didn't really go to high school, we went to the same high school. Anyway, married her, and we had a long history together. And we ended up uh, getting together when I got out of prison, thanks to Facebook of all places. And so was married to her for 5 years, and she's a nice lady. We have a kid together. She's a nice lady. I see her all the time, obviously, because we share a child. But she married me. I was this mortgage guy that wore khakis to work with a polo shirt, and you know, uh, then I'm all of a sudden this unemployed entrepreneur trying to, spearhead this whole social media movement with nobody else believing in it. I mean, you got to remember, guys, back then, like, dude, you can make money from Facebook, and people be like, "What's a Facebook?" Nobody knew, right? I mean, this is common knowledge today, but it wasn't just 14 years ago. And so, uh, about 2013, she's like, "Yo, I've had enough, man. We're riding these ups and downs. This isn't what I signed up for. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go move in with my parents and figure my life out." And so we split on like somewhat amicable terms. It wasn't like somebody hit somebody or cheated on somebody or anything like that. It was just like this wasn't the life that she had envisioned, so she tapped out. I say that because the attorney process was very painful. And so at one point, I was like, fine, just take everything. Just leave my company that wasn't worth pennies, that I've started and built a brand around. Give me 100% ownership of that. I'll give you all the money in the bank account. You can have the house. I'll pay for your car, whatever. Just get it over with. So I ended up signing away everything that I owned, everything, every dollar, everything to her. And, you know, at the time I'm making decent money, probably 15, 20 grand a month. Um, but it takes that money to run stuff. But I'm living in this penthouse, and like my neighbor that shared a wall was Prince Fielder from the Texas Rangers, right? Like, who was one of the highest paid ball players. He was the highest paid ball player then. And so I'm living in this penthouse, and like different strokes, the elevators, the front door and stuff. I don't even have a front door. I just have an elevator. I can see this beautiful view of the city, but I just wrote my life savings and everything away to, again, I'm just having to start all over again. And, I remember walking out to the balcony on the penthouse, and, I've got a Maserati parked downstairs. I got this penthouse that I live in and all this shit. And I was like, man, I'm tired of living this life of meteoric highs and rock bottom lows. I'm tired of every time I seem to win, something happens and it converts that win to a loss. I'm tired of every time I think I get on the other side of a struggle, a bigger struggle's there waiting to embrace me. I'm tired of every time I fall in love, my heart getting broken. I've had enough. And I walked over to the ledge of the balcony, and I remembered something very important at that moment. God put that thought in my head. It's like, hey, I got a 3-year-old son. This ain't just about me, because I don't have a family. Back then I had a son only, about soon to be ex-wife, but I don't talk to my mom and dad, my sisters, siblings. Like, I'm a lone wolf. And I remember that I wasn't a lone wolf, that I had somebody that depended on me. And his mama wasn't going to go get a job. She was going to live off of my money. So I had better take care of him. Plus, I love the little guy. And it gave me a new shit. This is the first time as a father it dawned on me, like, oh, life's not about me anymore. If life was about me, I would have just jumped. But life's not about me anymore. Life's about, I got a kid. I got a human being that is, for his entire life, is going to rely on me in one form or another. And I got a new lease on life. But it's one of those things that, you hear the story all the time they say money won't buy you happiness, or rich people are miserable too. And I don't think that's entirely true. I think, yes, there's people who do bad things to get money, and then bad things happen to them and they're probably miserable because of that. Yes, that probably happens. But I think the consensus where somebody sees somebody like me and they're like, oh, he's got a Maserati, he's in a penthouse, and here he is wanting to kill himself. They don't understand the fact that that wasn't about money. It wasn't about giving away money. It wasn't about me living in a penthouse or having a Maserati. It was about me feeling like a loser once again. And it was like, how many times in my life can I just feel like an utter loser before I just do what losers do and quit?
That's a perfect example of
I
how
could have had
money
$10
doesn't
million.
make
Dollars. I could have had 50 cents. The money didn't matter. It was the feeling that mattered, you know?
exactly. Money doesn't buy happiness. Then again, it's a lot more comfortable to cry in a Mercedes. But um, you there are a
Well,
couple
man,
things that
it is. I've had to cry in Lamborghinis, McLarens. I've had 19, Rolls Royce, McLarens, Lamborghinis. Right now, I got a Porsche and a McLaren in my garage. Like, dude, and I've had some bad days in them. And I'm sure it sucks worse having a bad day in like a 1982 Honda Rust Belt or something like that. But humans are humans, people. This is what we got to understand. And I didn't understand this when I didn't have money or success or hadn't, been through this stuff either. But humans are humans, man. Like, rich kids struggle just as much as poor kids. They just struggle in a different way. A lot of times rich kids struggle with social identity and drugs, whereas poor kids struggle with food. And it's just different. But every human on this planet struggles. We can't think, oh, because they're this, they don't struggle. Because they're this person, or because they have money, they don't have feelings. That's just not how the world works, man. We're all humans.